It's good to have you join us. Welcome to Lunchtime Politics on Channels Television. I am Bukola Koka. The headlines. President Bola Tinubu says all plans are in top gear to rebuild the country's resources and adds that the financial sector will be reformed for the benefit of Nigerians. The Independent National Electoral Commission has given itself a pass mark for the last election, barring all hitches witnessed. And the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, has been pulled out at the Mogadishu cantonment in Abuja. General Rabo was retired after the appointment of new service chiefs by the president. Welcome once again. Let's begin now. President Bola Tinubu says the country needs to take steps to stop the bleeding of its finances. The president made this comment at the Lagos House and Marina, where he was hosted by the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, as he marks his first month in office. President Tinubu says speedy action must be taken to rebuild the country's resources for the benefit of all Nigerians.
President Bola Tinubu arrives at Lagos House Marina from Ogun State. He was received by the host governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, All Progressives Congress National Chairman Abdullahi Adamu, among others. A roll call of dignitaries, including state governors from the Southwest, Southeast, South-South, Northeast, North Central, industry players and other political leaders were present for the first gathering in Lagos with the president. President Tinubu was quick to warn that the nation's financial system had been bleeding, and that needs to stop.
We need to take the steps to stop the bleeding of our finances through speedy action. From there, we must re-engineer the effectiveness of control and management of our resources in order to meet the obligation owed to Nigerians by politicians.
However, the president assures the people that he will rebuild the finance system.
We will work together. Open door policy that will bring Nigeria from brinks back to a resilient economy. And I want us to be partners so that we can rescue our country and make it whole again.
Governor Sanwo-Olu, who is hosting and celebrating the president's 1 month in office, says other governors and he stand in solidarity with President Bola Tinubu to build a new Nigeria.
We pledge our unwavering support and commitment to working hand in hand with your government to ensure that we achieve our collective aspiration. Mr. President, Lagos stands right behind you. We're confident that under your stewardship and your leadership, Nigeria will reach unprecedented heights.
The National Assembly, Nigeria Governors Forum, and other stakeholders say they are also ready to work with the presidency.
The Nigerian Governors Forum is committed to working with a known federalist who has used the instrumentality of the law several times to get things done the way it should be done in a federal system.
We are here across party lines to assure you that you earn well. You earn well. And Nigerians are proud of you, and the National Assembly is behind you 100%, and we will do everything possible, everything legislatively possible, to ensure that you have a very smooth tenure and at the end, this country will never forget you.
A father, 3 sons that set Lagos right.
4 generations of Lagos governors had their moments of reunification, including former Governor Akiomi Ambode, who has not been seen at public gatherings such as this for a while. Many will now be expecting the president set about the task of financial system rebuilding. With the promise of support from all political leaders at this event, the clock is ticking.
And from Lagos to the FCT, the Independent National Electoral Commission has been reacting to some post-election issues and happenings around the Presidential Election Petition Court. The INEC National Commissioner on Voter Education and Publicity, Mr. Festus Okoye, says that most of the issues raised by political parties involved are sensationalized and need no urgent treatment by the electoral body. According to Mr. Okoye, the electoral umpire has enough proof to establish a case against former Adamawa resident electoral commissioner Huda Yunusa Ari following the conclusion of investigation by the police. Mr. Okoye was a guest on our program, Politics Today.
The 2023 general elections have come and gone, but the conduct of the electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, is still generating debates at different fora. At the Presidential Election Petition Court, however, the head of the commission has been invited on a few occasions to make available vital documents in defense of the matter before the court. Speaking on some of the issues relating to the conduct of the commission, the Federal Commissioner for Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, explains that INEC has been responding to summons by the court.
The uploading of the results of the election into the INEC Result Viewing portal was to build public trust and also for the public to follow what goes on within and around the election process. But as you know, and as I know, the law, the Electoral Act 2022, gives every registered political party the opportunity to nominate polling agents, or what in popular parlance we call party agents, to be its eyes within the various polling units. And most of the political parties did nominate their polling agents. In fact, 3 of the political parties nominated over 176,000 polling agents. One of them nominated around 134,000 polling agents. So what that means is that each political party had the primary evidence at the level of the polling unit of those results. So I find it slightly difficult to understand why almost all the political parties are relying only on results uploaded to the various polling units when they applied to the commission and the commission accredited over 176,000 polling agents for each political party.
But you made the promise that you were going to put it there.
Results for the senatorial election was uploaded. That of the House of Representatives election was uploaded. Governorship election was uploaded. State assembly elections were uploaded. And it is only in the uploading of the presidential election results that we had a glitch. And we explained to Nigerians that this was exactly what happened. We said there was a glitch in terms of uploading. There were challenges with uploading of the presidential election results. That issue of uploading, whether it was a hardware issue, whether it was a software matter, is already before the Presidential Election Petition Court, and I will not go into that.
He also spoke on progress of the investigation into the conduct of the Adamawa Resident Electoral Commissioner, amongst other issues.
The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria suspended him before he exited office. And you're also aware that the Nigerian police force invited him to come and offer explanation relating to what has happened. I am aware that the police has concluded this investigation, and I'm aware that in the next few weeks, Nigerians will be informed of what has happened
INEC,
and what will happen. Yes.
INEC is one of the complainants, or is it?
No, under the law, it is the responsibility under the law, it is the responsibility of the Independent National Electoral Commission to prosecute him if a prima facie case has been made out against him.
Do you have enough to prosecute the matter?
Yes.
Has that been passed on to the INEC?
It's a possibility.
Has it been passed on?
I mean, is that a yes or no?
It's a possibility.
No, possibility is whether or not has the investigation report been passed on to INEC.
You know, you see, there has been some level of interface between the Nigerian police force and the Independent National Electoral Commission. And in some of the processes leading to the investigation, the commission was involved in some of those processes and procedures. And I'm aware that that very soon the commission will take action relating to the Adamawa.
And on the upcoming elections in Imo, Kogi and Bayelsa states later this year, the commission is assuring Nigerians of an improved election process.
I'm now being joined by the co-convener of Elections Integrity Observer Group, Mr. Arigbabu Sulaiman. Mr. Sulaiman, welcome to Lunchtime Politics.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, a very good afternoon to you too. I wonder if you had the full complement of that interview on our sister program, Politics Today, yesterday, and if it came in satisfactory manner, particularly in response to the release of the report of the European Union on its observation of the 2023 election. How satisfactory were the explanations put forward by INEC when compared with the concerns raised by the European Union?
Yes, thank you. I actually watched the Politics Today, and I listened to all the responses by my big brother Festus Okoye. I would say that I'm not satisfied, and without following the bandwagon, I am not satisfied because I think INEC can do better. I think INEC, in a way, is undermining itself. This story started right on the day of the presidential elections when we noticed that the IRF was not working, and INEC failed to take charge of the narrative and let us know what was happening, or at least to put us on notice that something was happening. Until media houses like yours especially confronted the same Mr. Okoye at the National Situation Room, where he then said that, okay, the INEC chair will... So they failed to take the narrative, and of course the narrative went into the public without their own side of the matter. And of course the public will make what it has made of it. Unfortunately, the same thing seems to be happening. We have had that election since February. The simple question of why is it that we are able to upload some and not the others should not be something that should still be ambiguous. The most that Mr. Okoye probably could have said is to say, oh, this matter, if discussing it here, will be sub judice. Maybe that would have been a face, but, you know, giving responses that rather than assuaging the feelings of people, you...
Well, we have challenges with the audio through to Mr. Arigbabu, but Mr. Okoye did, express concern that he couldn't answer questions, particularly when my colleague Sean was probing him about what exactly happened with the presidential election results as against the other results from the other elections, which were uploaded successfully to the IRF portal. He said because the matter is before the Presidential Election Petition Court and that INEC will be opening its defense on that in the coming week, he couldn't particularly answer that. And I recall that he was also saying that he's a lawyer and not an IT person, so he couldn't particularly respond to that. But the matter is before the court, and I wonder if you're back, Mr. Arigbabu. The matter is before the court, and in the past few weeks, we have seen the opposition parties tender their cases before the Presidential Election Petition Court. INEC also accused them of sensationalizing the matters before the court and dramatizing it, particularly in a manner of Nollywood. I wonder if you agree that, that's the manner in which the legal team of the opposition parties have presented themselves when you examine how they have asked for INEC to produce documents, critical documents that they require to defend their case.
So in this regard, Mr. Okoye defended INEC robustly. And of course, I do agree with him. The only thing is that, well, it is the way the game is played here. The lawyers who are on the defense side today, the plaintiff side, the next time, they will do the same theatrics. So it's unfortunate that our lawyers give themselves to such theatrics, but Mr. Okoye, in that regard, in that particular matter, he defended INEC properly. He showed the lapses in the process of application that many of the complainants did not follow through, and then they come out and say things. And this is why some people were against the idea of the process being televised live, because not many people have the dexterity to interpret what goes on in court, and that's why we rely on the media to put us in proper perspective. But I still insist that I think Mr. Okoye said so much in terms of why how IRF performed, and he refused to say a lot as well. So that puts a lot of confusion. I would have preferred that he totally stayed away from that. And the narrative that we keep saying that INEC refused, from beginning to whole, is that the IRF, it was INEC who promised us so that it can show a level of transparency. But it was never going to be the primary basis for which we can validate the authenticity or not of a result. That primary basis should never be jettisoned by anybody. And that is the primary basis that we need to first of all interrogate. Then we can then do the other interrogation of, with so much money that you have gotten, how come this did not work? A lot of explanation can come for that. But in terms of the primary basis for validating the veracity, the authenticity, the integrity of the election, the accountability process, that is where INEC ought to have, controlled the narrative, and up to now it still fails to do so.
But was it also tardy on the part of INEC, or maybe tardy is not the word now? Was INEC acting within the, was it obeying rule of law, so to speak, in its refusal for the INEC chairman to respond to the subpoena demanding that he tenders document before the court? We saw the explanation provided by Mr. Okoye there, but is the INEC chairman, perhaps a question to ask is the INEC chairman above the law?
The INEC chairman definitely is a public servant. He's not above the law. And if there's a specific subpoena, don't forget, Mr. Okoye, in responding to that, did say that if it is document that is being required, of course, the request will go to the INEC chairman, but then anybody within the INEC hierarchy can present those documents. But if there is a subpoena for the INEC chairman to come and testify on anything, he said the process, which is the law, requires that he be pre-informed on what is to come, and the witness statement against him needs to be uploaded so that he also can see. It's not an ambush process. And this is why I say that some of the lawyers are using both theatrical and ambush tactics. And I think they all need to, all of them, both the opposing and the winning side, need to come to terms with the proper conduct because public trust, not just in those whom we have elected, but in our process, needs to be improved. It needs to be guaranteed. And if certain things are not done properly, it will affect the way the public perceive, some of these things.
Speaking of improvement, Mr. Aribagwu, as we look to the conduct of the off-cycle election in Imo, Kogi, Bayelsa, what are the areas of improvement that INEC should begin to look into such that we avoid the logistical nightmare that characterized the conduct of the presidential election and some of the other governorship elections?
Thank you very much for this question. I have always held this position that for as long as our elections are overly centralized, for as long as we expect an INEC in Abuja to deploy logistics to 74 local government and polling units and the rest of it, we continue to have issues. In the places where they have overcome logistical challenges with elections, their elections, at least some part of it, are not this overly centralized. The other issue is that there are many agencies whose performance or non-performance will determine the outcome of INEC's input into any electoral process. So for the security, for instance, if the security agencies do not do what they are supposed to do, or if they become compromised, it's going to affect the outcome of INEC's performance in the election. So there are so many things that are not entirely within INEC's purview only. INEC also needs to look internally and deal with some of its bad eggs, which it definitely has. And in doing that, if you look at the case of the Adamawa reg, I think it's a bit difficult even for INEC to properly prosecute one of it. So, and that's why Mr. Obe is probably saying there is a possibility he couldn't answer straightforward what Shane was asking him. And this is why some of us insist that there should be an electoral offenses tribunal, to take that burden off INEC. It's difficult to probe one of your own because it means his colleagues who will be looking into his matters, even though the police will do the investigation. So
yes,
perhaps
indeed.
maybe the police will even be the prosecuting authority in this regard.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Arigbabu, that in fact throws up, many other concerns around the work of the commission, the appointments, but that's yet another debate. We'd like to thank you very much for your time and contribution on Lunchtime Politics. Mr. Sulaiman Arigbabu is the co-convener of Elections Integrity Observer Group. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me.
And the Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, has paid homage to the governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf, at the government house as part of the Salah celebrations. During the visit, the emir urged the state government to offer palliative measures to the people of the state as part of efforts to alleviate the impact of the fuel subsidy removal. In response, Governor Abba Yusuf reiterated his dedication to collaborate with the Emirate Council in advancing the welfare and progress of the people of Kano State. And today is the Hawan Nasarawa Durbar, and all is set for the festivities to begin. The Hawan Nasarawa was instituted by Serikin Kano Abbas, the first emir appointed by the British government after their conquest of Kano in 1903. The festival marks the end of Ramadan and is celebrated through an extravagant procession of horses by different emirates in a host of northern states. Different noblemen travel from far and wide to pay homage to their emirs. In Kano State, the emir also visits the government house to pay homage to the governor of the state. This procession takes place on the second day after Salah, that is both Eid al-Fitri and Eid al-Adha. The emir leaves his palace from Kofa Kudu before 8 a.m. It is led by the Makaman Kano, passing through Wudilawa, Kankarofi and Kofa Nasarawa quarters. The emir stops briefly at his Nasarawa palace where he prays at the tomb of his grandparents, Serikin Kano Abbas, Serikin Kano Alhaji Abdullahi Bayero, Serikin Kano Alhaji Muhammadu Inuwa, Serikin Kano Alhaji Muhammad Sanusi, and Serikin Kano Alhaji Ado Bayero. Colorful ceremony there. And away from Kano State, the pull-out ceremony parade for the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, is underway at the Mogadishu Cantonment in Abuja. He was the #1 citizen of the military from January 26, 2021 to June 19, 2023. In his valedictory speech, the former CDS expressed deep appreciation to the country and the officers who served in the armed forces under him. He also noted that national security for a diverse country like Nigeria is not an easy task. However, it is also not impossible. General Irabo believes that he is leaving the armed forces better and stronger than he met it, despite the huge challenge of ensuring effective coordination of security structures in a diverse country like Nigeria. General Irabo appeals to citizens not to engage in acts that can undermine the Nigerian military, as he affirms that the military will continue to stand as a beacon of hope, unity, and stability of the country. Before his appointment as Chief of Defense Staff, he was commander of the Training and Doctrine Command TRADOC in Mina from July 2020 to January 2021. Before that, he was commander of the Multinational Joint Task Force from May 2017 to August 2018 and commander of Operation Lafia Dole from March 2016 to May 2017. The ceremony is the last mark of respect from the military. At the ceremony are senior military officers, former chiefs of defense staff, former secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, the governor of Delta State, Mr. Sheriff Oborowori, among others.
There are 4 colors on parade. National regimental color. The Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Navy, and the Nigerian Air Force regimental colors. The Ensign to the national color is Captain C.S. Namdi, while Ensign to the Nigerian Army. Permit me to also recognize in our midst this morning Air Chief Marshal Petrin, the former Chief of Defense Staff. You are welcome, sir. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Meanwhile, military officers, senior in rank to the newly appointed service chiefs, have 3 days from now to turn in their resignation letters. This development comes on the heels of the appointment of the new service chiefs by President Bola Tinubu. The notice of resignation was made known in a statement from the Defense Headquarters signed by Major General Y. Yahaya for the Chief of Defense Staff. The statement reads in part, "I am directed to respectfully request services to direct all officers with seniority on commission above that of NDA Regular Course 39 to submit their applications for voluntary retirement from service with immediate effect. I am to add that affected officers are to submit their applications to their respective service headquarters not later than Monday, July the 3rd, 2023. According to military tradition, senior officers are unlikely to take orders from their juniors. Thus, the new appointments necessitates the compulsory retirement of about 100 top officers, including generals, brigadier generals, air vice marshals and admirals in the Nigerian Army, Navy and Air Force from the force. The affected senior officers who are expected to file in their voluntary retirement are officers above the NDA Regular Course 39. The new Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Christopher Musa, is a member of 38 Regular Course. The Chief of Army Staff, Major General Taoreed Lagbaja, the Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, and the Chief of Air Staff and Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar are members of 39 Regular Course. And you have been served on Lunchtime Politics for today and indeed for the week. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Join us again, same time next week for another round of editions. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.